Is it better to own or rent? That question has been asked for decades as home ownership in Southern California has expanded through the years. And I've heard this often, this debate and this question. Well, not only is it better to own financially, but it is dramatically better, and why renting is a financial disaster when it comes to becoming financially secure and ultimately being in a position where you can build wealth and retire. And I'm going to prove that to you in this presentation this morning. We're going to get into the math and show you exactly why you do not want to rent for any longer than you absolutely have to. Hi, my name is Mark Prather, and I'm the founder of Mark One Mortgage, the Mark One Real Estate Wealth Academy, and our Mark One Real Estate Wealth Advisor Network. I've been in the real estate industry, you can see, since 1977. I got in this industry right out of high school. I wrote a book called Why the Rich Stay Rich and the Poor Stay Poor. And what I did is take what I learned over my long career, which is 40 years plus, about wealth growth through real estate and finance, and how you can achieve financial security far faster than you ever imagined possible by understanding the power of wealth growth in real estate, and particularly the 5 economic benefits of real estate that we'll get into a little bit later. But right now, what we're going to talk about is the real cost of renting. It's really important to understand what the actual costs are of renting versus home ownership. And this is where you'll see why renting is a financial disaster. So let's say you're a renter and you're paying $3,800 a month in rent. Well, that's your cost to rent that property, right? It's 100% lost money. It goes to the landlord. You'll never see that money again. You don't own anything. You're not investing or saving any of that money for any purpose other than to use that apartment or house. But let's compare that to the real cost of home ownership. Let's say you purchase a property for $700,000 with 5% down. Now you could buy FHA, which is only 3.5% down. There are all kinds of down payment assistance programs, government, city, state programs that will provide the down payment and even closing cost assistance. But we're going to do a real simple analysis, which is a conventional loan, $700,000 sales price, the 5% down, with an interest rate of 6.25%. And as you know, interest rates can vary up and down, but this is kind of 6 to 6.5% is kind of a median level interest rate if you look historically speaking. All right, so let's compare this now to home ownership. See, when you rent, 100% of the rent's gone, right? But let's compare it to the home ownership aspect. At 6.25% on this mortgage, you would have a $41,342 interest deduction. So if you're making $100,000 a year, you can deduct $41,000 off the top in your tax deduction. Now, I'm not a CPA here, so what you want to do is meet with your accountant, your CPA, to do your own tax analysis so you know exactly what your personal income tax situation is. But this is a big tax write-off that renters do not have, and is going to save you a lot of money in income taxes. Next is the property tax deduction. Now there's the SALT or state and local taxes that are paid, but there's a limitation of $10,000 as far as what you can deduct. And if you're paying $10,000 in state income tax, then you can't write off any of the property tax. If you're paying less than that, then you might be able to write off some of this. But for our purposes of this conversation, we're not going to put any property tax deduction. Now, there's debate about a new tax law coming into place and then the government removing the SALT $10,000 limitation, which would be fantastic for real estate owners, because then all of a sudden there'd be this huge second tax write-off. Now, let's say your combined state and federal tax bracket is 30%. So 20% for the federal government income tax, 10% for state. How this would work would mean that we reduce your taxable income by $41,000. So instead of paying tax on $100,000, you're only paying tax on $59,000. So now your tax is 30% off of this. This is a tax savings of $12,403. Big tax savings per year. An additional savings is the mortgage principal reduction. Now, here's what that means. When you rent, again, 100% of the rent just goes away, it's gone, it's lost money. But when you make a mortgage payment, about 20%, and this varies depending on the interest rate, but about 20% of your mortgage payment is principal reduction, which means your loan balance is going down, which means the equity is growing in your property, which is the equivalent of a savings account. It's a forced savings within the property. So it's not lost money. So you got money coming back from the government, from your tax savings, and you have equity growth in the property. So this is $21,195 of money coming back to you that you've basically acquired by investing in real estate that renters don't have. 100% of the rent money is just gone forever. We divide it by 12. We're at $1,683 per month in savings that renters don't have. So if we look at your mortgage pay down, it's $5,212 is what the mortgage payment would be. Add back the principal reduction, the money you're getting back through the equity in your property, plus the tax deductions, and your real cost of home ownership on this property is $3,529. So if you're paying $3,800 a month in rent, your actual hard cost for home ownership is $3,529. The savings is $271 a month. Times 12, it's a $3,248 savings per year without the appreciation on the property. And we know real estate values go up. So let's look at the property appreciating. Now, California's average annual appreciation rate dating back to 1968 is 7.3%. I'm not going to use 7.3. I'm going to use a much more conservative number, only 5%. 5% is a national average, but this for California is something that is easily accomplished. 5% of 700,000 is 35,000 in annual appreciation on the property, plus the savings in principal reduction and tax write-offs. And the total is you're making $38,000, $38,248 a year in money back to you that renters don't experience. That's a lot of money, right? That's a huge, huge difference. So the difference you can see as far as real cost of renting versus home ownership is, in many cases, cheaper to own than rent, and especially when interest rates are low. And interest rates are currently coming down. Now, here's the next thing I wanted to share with you is this is the history of California rents. And what you're going to see here is this is the median and the average, California median and average rental rates. And you can see where the rents, they really don't go down. There was a little blip in the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, where there was a slight reduction, but then they continuously go up. Average rental rate increases are about 4% a year for the entire state. Now, Southern California, much higher than this. And so here's why this is so significant, is renters are losing the inflation battle. You're paying 4 to 5% annual appreciation increases as a renter. Most people don't get 4 to 5% pay raises. They're more like 3.5%. But on the converse side is if you become a homeowner and then down the road, you turn that home into a rental, then you have where you begin winning the inflation battle because your asset is not only increasing in property value by 7% a year, but the income you can see is going up every year, and you can see how stable that is. Here's another impact of inflation on rents. Now here's starting at $3,200 a month, and you can see the annual inflation rate at 4%, where in 10 years, look how much the rents go up from $3,200 to $4,970 in 10 years. In 15 years, the rents have basically doubled from $3,200 to $6,193, basically $6,200. In 20 years, 3,200 becomes $2,717. So if you're 30 years old and you rent till you're 50, look where you're going to be in 20 years. Most people look at this and they really can't believe this, but this is the power of compounding. So this is inflation compounding. And then we walk it forward a full 30 years and look where rents have gone. almost 4 times greater. This is why I say that renting is a financial disaster, because you're losing the inflation battle. And more Americans today are suffering from losing this inflation battle than ever. Their credit cards are at all-time record highs. The delinquencies on their credit cards also at all-time record high. And the recent inflation, where rents and the cost of everything has gone up dramatically. Now, before I leave this point, I want to ask you to think about something. When you want to retire, what happens to your income? Does it go up or go down? See, as we get older and we reach our retirement age, is our income drops, and it drops significantly. How can you retire if you have rent payments that are going up like this, and they just keep going up and up and up? They're never going to stop because inflation's never going to stop, and you'll never be able to pay off your rent. When I ask renters that, and they ask them what their rent is now, they say, well, my rent's $3,200 a month. I said, well, when do you expect to have that paid off? And they laugh and they go, well, never. And that's the point I'm making, is you can never pay your rent off, which makes retirement really difficult. Where when you get a home, you can pay it off, or you can rent it, or you can rent rooms. There's a lot of different things. You can add an ADU to create rental income, a lot of different elements. Now, here's the next thing I want to share with you is real estate will grow wealth at a speed far beyond any other investment, and most people are unaware of that, including real estate agents. Here's the reason: the 5 economic benefits of real estate. What that means is you're making money 5 different ways. So I'm going to show you a quick illustration right now. And we use on my desk here. So let me turn my camera down. I do this little poker chip presentation. Okay. And I'm going to show you the 5 economic benefits of real estate. So this red poker chip represents your money. So let's say you put $1 in the bank and you get 1% interest. So $1, 1%, not very much money, right? But let's say you put another dollar in your 401k or IRA and you get 8%. So here's 8%. So here's 2, 4, 6, 8. So you average 8% a year. Way better than the bank. So this is in your 401k or IRA, and this is what most people are doing, is saving for retirement. And so this is their annual earnings. So not bad. But let's say we take $1, just like we put in stocks, and we buy a $10 property, but we borrow $9 from the bank. So this is 10% down. Now, you don't need 10% down. You can buy with no money down, or in the scenario I showed, that you could buy with 5% down. So in this scenario, we're going to go 10% down. So $1, $9 from the bank. So this is the first economic benefit, which is leverage. You borrow $9 from the bank. Here's what's so significant about this, is you own 100% of the property. The bank doesn't own 90% of the property. You own 100%, which means you get 100% of the profits. So that's the first economic benefit, is the leverage factor, which means the bank money, okay, that they've loaned you. Now you're paying interest on this through a contract, but the interest is really cheap relative to the wealth growth of the property. Now, remember I said California's average annual appreciation rate is 7.3%. We're only going to use 5%. So 5% of $1 is 5 cents, but 5% at $10 is 50. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So now we've only covered 2 economic benefits, and we've blown away the stock market. Leverage here and appreciation rate at only 5%. So we have 50 chips here versus 8, but there's still 3 more economic benefits. Let me show you what those are. Remember we talked about principal reduction. So your loan balance is going down every month, equity is going up, you're growing more wealth. We also talked about tax deduction. So you have your mortgage interest deduction. Now that's limited at $750,000 if it's your home. But what if you bought a home, lived there for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then turned that into rental and bought another one? Rental property has no limitation on the mortgage interest deduction or property. You can write all of that off, which means you can create massive amounts of tax-free income. So that's the fourth one, the tax benefits. And here's the last one, is rental income. the rental cash flow. So those are the 5 economic benefits. But here's what's so powerful and profound about the rental income. See, when you put money in stocks, here, you put money in stocks, what you're getting is a stock certificate. What can you use this stock certificate for? Answer is nothing. See, it's paper. You can't use it for anything. Certainly cannot live in it. But when you put your money in real estate, you get a tangible asset, which means you own the land and you own the structure. So you get the tax write-offs, which is on the structure, which is depreciation. So you have that huge tax write-off. But here's the best part and the most powerful part is the rental income. You get rental income on real estate that you cannot get on stocks or other investment because there's no utility value. So here's what that means. Let's say I'm the bank and I loan you this money to buy this property. Then you turn it into a rental. And so instead of you living there, you sell the utility value, meaning the ability to live there, to a tenant. The tenant pays you rent to use that property. You take that rent and pay off the mortgage. So here's the point. If I loan you all this money and someone else pays off my loan, then isn't the money I loaned you, doesn't that become free money if someone else pays it off? And the answer is absolutely. There's no other way to create massive amounts, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars of free money than real estate. And here's the key reason, the utility value. So here's what I want you to keep in mind, is the power of real estate is that real estate has the other investments. There's 5 economic benefits. You're making money 5 different ways. Most people only think about the appreciation, the property value going up, and they don't know about the other 4. The power of the leverage, where now you're making money not just on your money, but all that bank money. You're making it. And then the free money through the power of the utility value, where someone is paying your mortgage off. Now, in our consultations, we'll show you with our real estate forecaster strategies on how you can literally create millions of dollars of free money because you're growing wealth. And you can see in this poker chip presentation, you're growing wealth where in this scenario, it's 8% return on the stock market versus 50 to 60% return on this property in that first year. And in our real estate forecaster, we will show you how to annualize that and how you can calculate where you can average over a long period of time, averaging 20 to 25% return on investment on real estate is very easy to do. A lot of people are unaware of that. And the reason they're unaware of it is because they're unaware of the 5 economic benefits. So if you don't know what they are, you sure as heck don't know how to use them. So let me go to the next step here. All right. So those are the 5 economic benefits. All right. Next. Here's an example of what I talked about with our real estate forecaster. And what this is showing is if you bought a $600,000 property and you put 5% down, that's the $30,000. So here's the loan balance. Here's the down payment. Let's say the market rent for that property is $3,200 a month. Then we look at each year. After 1 year, the property value is going up. So this is a 4% appreciation rate. Property value going up, so that's economic benefit number 1. Loan balance is, you can see the loan balance is going down, but this is the leverage factor. So that's the leverage factor, that's economic benefit number 2. The loan balance going down, principal reduction, is that the economic benefit number 3, and that translates into equity growth here. The rental income is the 4th economic benefit. This is the advantage of the utility value. And here's the compounded return. And the 5th one that's not included here is the tax benefits. So the annual return on investment is actually higher than this. But look at the return on investment, how high this is. It's fantastic. But very few people, again, including most realtors, are unaware of this because they don't know how to calculate the return on investment. All they talk about is the appreciation rate. Well, it's much greater, 5 economic benefits. You're making money in a massive way. Now compare this to how much money are renters making? 0. That's why renting is a financial disaster. You're pouring all this money into rent and you're getting 0 back forever. But look at the wealth growth. 30,000 in 5 years turns into 201,000. In 10 years, 414,000. So let's take 414,000 divided by 10 is $41,000 a year. Divide that by 12. 400 or 41,000. That's over 3,000 a month. It's about $3,500 a month. How many renters do you think can save $3,500 a month for the next 10 years, saving over $400,000? The answer is like maybe 1%. So the savings and wealth growth is phenomenal. This again is why renting is a financial disaster. We all want to be financially secure as soon as possible. There is literally no faster, safer, easier way to get there than home ownership. So when's a good time to buy? When you can. In every market, there's opportunities. But here's the reality. Down markets means there's less competition, are the best time because you can negotiate the best price. What has always amazed me, and I've been doing this in this industry, over 40 years, is the down markets are when you want to buy and you want to do your hardcore negotiating and get the steal on the properties. And yet, because people come from a place of fear, they do exactly the opposite, which I've never understood, because it's like if you had, let's say, Nordstrom as a department store and said, hey, this weekend, we're going to have a sale of 40% off on our goods. The store's packed, 40% off. Everybody's there because they want a good deal. It's like Black Friday, right? Real estate, the market's down. Real estate's on sale. You can get a property 10 or 20% below market, which hardly ever happens, like once every 10 or 20 years. And everybody's like, oh my God, I better not buy. What are the chances that real estate values are going to go down and stay down forever? Answer is it has never happened. They might go down, but it's just going to be for a brief period. That's when, just like Nordstrom, you want to be all over it, get the best price possible, because the price is guaranteed to go up and go up dramatically. But yet most people live in a place of fear, and that's why they never become financially secure or wealthy. Real estate is very different from stocks. With stocks, everyone pays the same price for stock at any given moment. Real estate's not that way. If you have 10 different sellers, their motivation to sell, meaning their need for money, is going to be 10 different levels. You want to find the seller that's most motivated, and those are the people because they need to move for whatever reason. Every seller of real estate has different needs and motivations. And how do you find out who's motivated most to sell? Simple. You just make an offer and they'll respond, and then you can tell and you can figure it out really quickly. Now, again, we talked about the 5 economic benefits of real estate. They're your shortcut to wealth. We have a free presentation called Your Shortcut to Wealth. You need to go to yourshortcuttowealth.com, watch this presentation, and you will learn how to grow wealth faster than you ever imagined possible. There are 5 reasons you must own real estate. Real estate is the fastest path to wealth. Real estate can provide free money because of that utility value we talked about. You can build wealth without saving money because the property builds it on autopilot. You can win the inflation battle, which is really key to financial security and wealth. And real estate is the safest investment you can make because it's not like a business like in stocks. Businesses come and go, but real estate doesn't go away. There's only so much real estate. And particularly when you look at the different locations, real estate, unless there's an atomic bomb or something, or an earthquake that puts part of the state in the ocean, which has never happened, real estate is the safest investment you can make. So why the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor? Here's why I titled my book that. It's about beliefs. Rich people that come from affluent families expect to be rich. Poor people expect to be poor. They just don't believe it's possible. And because they don't believe it's possible, they're afraid and they don't try. Next is know-how. If you're watching this presentation, that means you respect and appreciate knowledge. You have to invest the time to learn. That's why I wrote the book. That's why I have all these other seminars. Take what I've learned over this long journey that I've had in the real estate and the mortgage finance industry and learn. I'm going to show you truly a shortcut and how you can grow your wealth at twice the speed of the stock market. And number 3 is don't be paralyzed with fear. You have to take action. So what do you believe is possible for your life? This is my favorite verse in the Bible. according to your faith, be it unto you. And here's what this means. According to what you believe and trust, where you put your belief and trust is what your life will become. Be it unto you, will dictate the course of your life. If fear is what rules your life, then you will become paralyzed and your life will reveal that and you will be poor to the end. But if faith that you can have a better life is where you will put your trust in, then you can have a great life. My name is Mark Prather. I'm founder of Mark One Mortgage, the Mark One Wealth Academy. This is Srini Jack, my VP. You can see our contact information here. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you have questions, you can reach out to us. Let's schedule your free in-person or online consultation or meet with any of our real estate wealth advisors, and they will help to guide you on this journey. We're part of the HOPE home programs. HOPE stands for Home Ownership Programs and Education. It's all about information about wealth growth through real estate and financial strategies that can change your life powerfully. I appreciate your time. I hope to hear from you soon. And I wish you the best in life and that you have that financial security that you always dreamed of. Take care.